If you're thinking today about people suffering under the new Republican administration, spare a thought for the Kansas sorghum farmers. The abruptly and unconstitutionally canceled USAID program was their main market for their sorghum, so now they've got all these full silos and no place to sell their crops. If you voted red in the last election, you are complicit in their suffering, and if that makes you uncomfortable, good.
Another day and another story about the people who voted for Donald Trump absolutely terrified that Trump is going to do what he promised to do. Now, yesterday, I talked about the teachers, superintendents who voted for Trump, and then now they're shocked that he is going to cut the Department of Education possibly, or at the very least cut funding to it, and they're worried they're going to lose their jobs. Today, once again, it's the farmers. Now, we have already talked multiple times over the last few months at this point about farmers across the country who voted for Trump, panicking that his mass deportation plans are going to devastate their farms, which would then devastate the food supply here in the United States. This is an issue that will, of course, affect everybody. Doesn't matter your income level. This is kind of a big deal. And now Bloomberg actually went out and talked to several Trump voting farmers down here in the South, and they voted for Trump. They like Trump. We're terrified of what Trump is going to do to our businesses. In an interview with Bloomberg, tomato grower Tony DeMare said that it would be a major mistake for Trump to institute the kind of crackdown on undocumented farm labor that has been enacted in Florida, where he says he's having trouble finding people to pick crops. A lot of people left Florida for Georgia, north, scared. Farmers had to let their crops rot, he told Bloomberg. And that, of course, is before Trump even got sworn in. Right, which is happening, just shortly here, really. So even before Trump's policies that are going to make the problem so much worse, the problem already existed. Farmers are having crops rot in the field. Idaho-based farmer Shay Myers, this one not in the South, obviously, tells Bloomberg that it is simply not realistic, given current conditions, to hire only American citizens or even only documented immigrants who come into the country on H-2A guest worker visas. He also bluntly tells Bloomberg that if he, quote, had to replace every falsely documented worker with an H-2A worker, it wouldn't happen. So there's a couple points on here that I want to point out, right? These farmers are admitting, yes, we're hiring illegal immigrants. And yet, across the country, Republican politicians told us for years and years, still tell us to this day, these immigrants are the ones that are the problems, right? Nobody ever wants to actually crack down on the people hiring the illegal or undocumented, is a much better word, my apologies, these undocumented immigrants. No. And now they're telling us, listen, we have to have these people. And by the way, I'm not even saying we need to ship them back. I'm not of that opinion. Absolutely not. They should be allowed to say our economy is dependent upon undocumented people coming in this country. The problem is these people who hire them screw them over repeatedly. I mean, they're clearly admitting in this Bloomberg interview, Americans don't want to do these jobs. They don't. And there's not enough H-2A visas to bring in enough people to even do the jobs. We're screwed if we don't have illegal immigration, which is why, of course, I voted for the guy who said he was going to get rid of all the illegal immigrants in the country. You see how it's really hard to have any sympathy whatsoever for these people? And I don't. This particular group of folks, I got no sympathy for you. Some of the other issues where people were well, I thought he was going to lower the prices on this. I thought he was going to not destroy the Department of Education. I got a little bit of sympathy for them. For the farmers who are out there whining the mass deportations are going to crush us. He was 100% clear that he was going to do that. For years, he was clear about it. But no, you were more concerned about who was using which public bathroom, as if that impacts your life at all. No, you were hoodwinked by a Republican Party to ignore the issues that matter to you and be distracted by this shiny thing over here, which for the last year or so has been transgender people. You were more concerned about that than you were about your own livelihood. And boy, the chickens are coming home to roost, and you deserve what is about to happen to you. No sympathy. Deal with it. Live with the consequences of your actions. Isn't that what the Republican Party's all about? Personal responsibility? Y'all did this to us. Deal with it, a-holes. Now, the problem with having that mentality on this particular issue is, of course, that this isn't just going to affect the farmers, right? As the one guy mentioned, we've already got foods rotting in the fields. Guess what happens when that happens, right? The food, the vegetables, the fruits, they're rotting in the fields. That is food that doesn't make it to market. So when there's less food at the market, but demand remains the same, come on, folks, simple macroeconomics, price goes up. Or if everybody is still willing to pay that high price, but the supply is still low and demand remains the same, scarcity. So we go without. We lose more money buying more expensive goods, and There's not enough to go around anymore. So as I said, rich, poor, doesn't matter. This is an issue that does affect us all. So while I do think these people need to take responsibility for their actions, the problem is their irresponsibility in being distracted by cultural, social bullcrap is dooming us all. Like, I, who did not vote for a single Republican ever in any election in my life, have to pay the price for this. You watching this, depending on the platform you're watching it on, you're probably pretty liberal. You didn't vote for any of this, but you also have to pay the price. We all do. We're a country. We're a collective. That's how it works. We basically have this collective punishment. We got to pay the price because a bunch of yahoos didn't pay attention to the issues that we had been warning about for months leading up to the election. We're all screwed because of too many ignorant, easily distracted voters.
Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope you had a good day. I hope you had a great weekend. I actually went outside, had to go over to my daughter's house to do something, and came home and said, well, that's enough. I'm not going back out there again till it cools down. Really looking forward to some fall weather. This heat, I don't like this heat. Been a lot of storms. Nebraska's been getting hit a lot too. I love a good storm. So I'm kind of pissed off that this was the year for Nebraska to get those storms when I'm not there. But that's life. What I learned off watching TikToks today, I heard somebody report that President Trump went on Truth Social and told all the homeless people to get off the streets in Washington, D.C. And I'm sure all those homeless people that were sitting around on the park bench by a tree, anywhere, scrolling on their phone, looking at Truth Social, go, oh, goodness, the president has warned me, I must move. Yeah, like, really? Do you really think that's a place to advertise that? And my question is, why? Why should they? Why are you treating homeless people like criminals? This I don't understand. You put a lot of people, you, the President of the United States, put a lot of those people on the streets with all the crap that you're pulling. So if you don't like to look at them, too damn bad. Then I've been seeing a lot more ranchers and farmers coming on just whining and complaining because they're going to lose their farms because they voted for Trump and now those people won't come work for us. Well, what did you think was going to happen when you ship away all the immigrants? Or you believed him when he said it was just going to be the criminals? Every day when you do this, when you come on here and you say, but I voted for him, I really thought he was going to make America great. Yeah, show us your faces so we know the stupid people to stay away from. I'm sorry, but I lived in Nebraska. I listened to these freaking ranchers talking about how it was going to be so great to get rid of all these immigrants. One of the ranchers that was like that had a produce farm where on his farmland he had trailers for the immigrants to come stay while they worked on his farm. But of course that's the same man that had to pay a fine because they discovered that he wasn't paying the workers the Social Security money and all that stuff because, they won't report it, so why should I pay it? That kind of thing. So, anyway, every day I wake up and I say to myself, we're going to hear some good news today. The best news we could hear, I don't know. But if every day we chip away a little bit more at this regime's control, is the best thing we can see. I am finally happy to see the Democrats actually stepping forward. Instead of talking, they're actually doing stuff. We've got a long ways to go, but I appreciate now what they're trying to do. Let's hope they keep the momentum. Just my opinion. Anyway, Um, let's have a good night and pray for some really good news tomorrow morning. Every morning, we got to pray for some good news. That's all we can do. Have a good night, and we'll talk again later.
Welcome back. In this video, we took a look at MAGA farmers in rural areas who weep because things have become difficult for them because mass deportation has really affected their farms. Now, up until the 2024 presidential elections, Donald Trump's message was very clear to the people of the United States of America. Paramount among his policies was mass deportation, and a lot of people bought into the idea of mass deportation. I can say that mass deportation was the most marketed policy that the Donald Trump administration campaign team brought forth, and a lot of people bought into this idea. Quite ironically, are the farmers, and in this case, farmers in rural areas, who also bought into this campaign message that Donald Trump will be deporting a lot of people in huge numbers. Farmers in rural areas depend on immigrants, undocumented immigrants for that matter, to work on their farms in order to pick their crops, sow all the seeds, and do all the farming activities. And they are being paid a low wage salary to do all this work that they do on the farm for something that is very low. And so when Donald Trump brought up this mass deportation policy, I least expected a group like the farmers to rally behind Donald Trump in order for him to implement this policy, because you are using undocumented immigrants to work your farm, and you go and vote for a policy that seeks to deport all these undocumented immigrants. So after they have been deported, who else do you expect to come on your farm and work over there for you? I don't know who they were expecting to come on their farms and work for them. So in the end, all these undocumented immigrants were deported. Some who were also not deported have also run, and they are in hiding. They are not coming out to work on these farms. Probably they may be hiding in their various homes, and a few too have also gone back to their various country of origin. And this has taken a heavy toll on farmers, and particularly farmers in rural areas, because their crops are ripe and there are no workers over there to pick up their crops, the fruits and the vegetables. So they are all rotten on the farms. A few that has also been harvested are also going bad because of Donald Trump's tariffs on goods leaving the United States to other countries, and then goods coming in from other countries to the United States. So farmers in the United States are finding it difficult to sell their goods to consumers outside the United States. So majority of these produce are also going bad. They are just sitting down there in sacks and silos, and they are not being able to go out there for the farmers to get any income from their produce. And this is a very tough situation. First of all, they are not able to harvest their crops because workers who are undocumented have been deported. A few of the crops that have been also harvested are not being able to get to the consumer because of the tariffs by this administration. And this has become very difficult for some rural MAGA farmers who are in rural areas, and they are weeping out heavily because they have been heavily affected by this mass deportation policy. And particularly for me, I do not feel that pity for them, because it is the same thing that you voted for that you have gotten. Donald Trump never hid any of these policies. He didn't hide any of these policies from the citizens in the United States of America. He was upfront with his decision. He says mass deportation. He did not even say just deportation, but he qualified it with the word mass for you to know that it will be in huge numbers. So if you are using undocumented immigrants on your farm, why should you go and then vote for such a person to become president and then implement the policy, which in the long run you know it will affect you? So you voted in order to, I don't know, punish your own self. You literally shot yourself in the foot. Let me know what you think about all these in the comment section below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family on other social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click also on the notification bell, and I would like to see you again in my next video.